That's it. I found the one. I'm never gonna buy any more guitars. Come on. So here is the newcomer. Sorry, I sold my green Schecter Sun Valley and there was an empty spot. So, This is a Jiva Jr from Ibanez. It's the signature guitar of Mrs. Nita Strauss. So if you don't know who Nita Strauss is, she is one of the 3 guitarists in the Alice Cooper band. She is, I think, the first female artist to be endorsed by Ibanez. And they call her the Hurricane. So she has a really hard rock / metal style and energy. This is the Jiva Jr. So it's the more affordable version of a guitar that was released, I think 2 years ago. That was called the Jiva 10. And there's an even more expensive version called the Jiva X. So to give an order of idea, the Jiva Jr is $800. The Jiva 10 is $1,500, so almost double. And the Jiva X is $3,000 plus. It's really spec'd out, but it's like out of this world. What is this Jiva 10 guitar? It's based on the Ibanez S series, which is known for being very thin, very light, very well balanced. So basically it's the MacBook Air of guitars. I won't list the full specs right now, but I want just to go over a few points and compare this version versus the Jiva 10, so you know if it's a good bargain, if you are losing something or not. So let's start with the body. The body is it's a Meranti body with a quilted maple top. They say top, I think it's just a thin, very thin paper-like veneer. The Jiva 10 has an African mahogany body with also a quilted maple top. I don't know if there is a difference in the thickness, but I'm pretty sure for $800 this is not like a very thick top. And anyway, the guitar is so thin, there is no space for a very thick top. This is the Edge 02 bridge, exact same as in the Jiva Jr. One volume, one tone, selector switch. The selector is the same combination as in the Jiva 10. I don't know if there is a difference in quality. So I checked the electronics. The electronics is pretty cheap with dime size pots. I have no idea if the Jiva 10 has better electronics, better potentiometers, but I'm pretty sure it's the same. The switch is on the PC board. I'm pretty sure Ibanez puts on all of their guitars, even the premium ones. So I think it's the same thing, but the pots may be better in the Jiva 10. If someone has one and wants to comment, please do. The neck is, it's a maple neck. In the Jiva 10, it's a 3-part maple, purple heart maple neck, laminated. The Jiva 10 has a binding around the neck, but apart from that, in the Jiva Jr, it's still ebony, so it's really nice that they kept ebony fingerboard, which is a more expensive wood, so really great. And also, I'm happy they kept this, they call it the beaten path inlay. And this inlay is basically a heartbeat. and it's very cool they kept it and didn't put just like dots. The guitar is a very thin binding, white binding. On the Jiva 10 you have a multi-layer binding. Okay. Matching headstock, which is really nice. Cosmo Black hardware, so the tuners. I think the tuners are exactly the same as in the Jiva 10. The bridge is the same, the nut looks like it's the same, and both guitars are made in Indonesia. Difference with the pickups here are Ibanez own pickups. They call them the quantum pickups. Although on the Jiva 10 they have the like signature set of Nita Strauss. So it's DiMarzio Pandemonium on the neck and the bridge, and the True Velvet in the middle. So we'll check the pickups, and they sound quite nice, but of course it's not like a high-end pickup. So why did I buy this guitar? I think it's always important to give a bit of context. I've always been a fan, really a fan of this shape of guitar. I remember seeing one of them, like very expensive, like 2,000 euros or dollars, don't know, in a shop in Paris, with a crazy quilted maple top, like blue, really beautiful golden hardware, very light, very nice. The thing is, for me, the S series has always been a bit of a like fusion guitar, and not really, I think, hard enough or heavy enough for hard rock and metal. And to me, this is the first time an artist uses this platform, the S series, for a real metal, assumed metal version. And this is what I liked. When the Jiva 10 was released, honestly the price tag was a bit too much for me. At 1,500, it's a bit too expensive. But $800 for this guitar, it looked like a really great bargain, and I still think it is. And what is important for me is that the main elements of this guitar, its identity, stay the same. So for example, I think it's important that they kept the ebony fingerboard, this really nice heartbeat inlay, and kind of the nice quilted maple top and matching headstock. This was in the nice features, because this you can't change it. If the fingerboard is not what you want, if the inlay is not what you want, you have no way to change it. I'm happy to say that they kept what is really important and what you can change, and they made savings on what you actually can change later, like the pickups or maybe the electronics. But the rest really is the same as the original. The bridge, even the bridge is exactly the same, and I'm really happy with it. I'll explain why in a moment. And so if you really want something close to the Jiva 10, basically you just have to change the pickups, and you end up with, I think, 90% of the Jiva 10 for a fraction of the price. So what are my first impressions with this guitar? I'll begin with the positive points. So as I said, they kept the really important parts, which I think is great. Really love the matching top and headstock. I think it's really beautiful. The colors are what I like blue guitars. They kept the same neck shape and the ebony fingerboard, so it's quality wood, so I'm really grateful for that. The Meranti, I don't think there is a big difference between Meranti. Meranti is a type of mahogany. It's the same family, but a bit cheaper. I don't care if it's mahogany or Meranti. I don't hear a difference. I don't believe in tone wood, so for me it's great. I love it. It's the S series, so it's very thin. It's a different experience, playing experience, than with a traditional Strat, which is a bit bigger. The neck is really comfortable, and I'm very happy with the bridge. It's a high quality bridge. It's made by Goto for Ibanez. It has a very nice flutter and a very nice cover. Oh, something else I really like on this guitar is the shape of the neck, which is really flat. Not as crazy flat as the first Ibanez with the Wizard neck. This is a Wizard 3 neck. It's very flat, but the good balance. And this nice contoured heel joint is really, really nice. You can reach easily the 24th fret, so there's no sharp edge. Really nice. About the pickups, they're a bit in the middle. I was quite pleasantly surprised by their quality. I didn't think they would be that good, to be honest. I thought they would be crap, and they are not. They are really nice, and I will show you in a few moments a sample of a few sounds. I was surprised by their versatility. You can really get 5 very different sounds, and all of them sound nice, to be honest. So of course it's not Seymour Duncan of DiMarzio grade pickups, but you can buy them separately if that's what you want to do. And now for the negative points. So the first negative point is the setup was horrible when I received this guitar. So I don't know if because of the shop that sent it to me, or it goes out like this from the Ibanez factory in Indonesia. I don't know, but it was just unplayable. It was buzzing all around, and there was a back bow. So a back bow is like, usually your neck should be straight or with a little bow like this, little curve like this. A back bow is when it's the opposite, it's going this way, and what it does is all the strings are buzzing, especially in the middle, and it's a really horrible feeling. So the setup was horrible. The bridge was all the way on the front instead of being like this, really flat. So that was not a really pleasant surprise. Second point that I didn't like, the fret ends were really sharp, really not nice. So it took me a couple of hours to polish them. So I took a fret and dressing file and filed each one of them, this side and on the bass side, and I polished it with a small file for polishing too. So it took me a while, but now it plays really great. So I don't know if in this category of price it's something you should expect, but it was not really a nice finish. Something else I don't really like, exactly in the same category, in the same finish, the frets were really gritty, and they are still a bit. I don't know if you can hear it. This kind of like sound, it's a bit horrible, and you have to know I already polished them with steel wool, the kind of usual maintenance I do for every guitar I receive, and even with that it's still gritty, so it's something I would have to address. A not so nice surprise is the electronics. I checked it. It looks like cheap electronics, cheap potentiometers. So it could be a good idea to change them for better quality electronics, but that's not necessary. I think it works. It works fine. They turn nice. But okay, something you want to know. And the last point is the neck feels very nice, very smooth. It has a kind of satin feel, but on some places there are some kind of dark stains. So I don't know if it has been played, demoed in a store where I bought it, or it went out of the factory like this. Maybe a bit of the two, because for example this spot seems to be under the finish and this kind of stains are on top of the finish, and here it's a bit like rough. You see they didn't have time to polish these parts because, well, players don't really touch these parts and they are not so important, but it's something to consider. Also in the fit and finish category, the nut was not really centered, so it was a bit offset this way on the treble side, and the issue is your E-string then comes really close to the side of the fretboard and you can do this kind of slip. So I had to take it like a bit more in the center as much as I could without drilling new holes. So what are my plans for the future of this instrument, to upgrade it, to, take it to its full potential? So the first thing I would like to do is change the pickups. These pickups are very good, but they are a bit of a low output. I heard Nita Strauss's sound on the video. She has a crazy tone. It's like crazy output, and I want the same. So I want to order a set of pickups. So the Pandemonium bridge and neck and the True Velvet in the middle. I think it will be a nice upgrade and a better sound. The second thing I want to address is these frets. I will have to, polish them, and this time I think steel wool won't be enough. So I want to try a method I didn't try already, which is take a Dremel tool and use a polishing wheel with a nice polishing compound. And I think this way you get really shiny frets, really steel-like frets, really smooth, and you can do bends without this gritty sound. The third point I would like to enhance a bit is the neck. So, I mean, it's really nice, it's smooth, but I wonder if I wouldn't sand everything in the back. Sand the back of this neck with sandpaper, like 500 grit sandpaper. And this way it would be really the feeling of natural wood. I already did that on one guitar. And that's something I'm seriously considering. The finish is already satin-like, so it's almost the feeling of natural wood. So maybe if I sand the whole thing until that point, that would be even better. Protect the side of the ebony fingerboard, protect the top side here with the serial number. I don't want to touch that. And polish these wings and sand the whole neck. So I would have a very nice feeling and remove all these stains. And the last thing I would like to do, maybe, I'm not so sure about it, but it could be a good opportunity if I already changed the pickups, is to replace the potentiometers and rewire it entirely and use nice electric cables. So could be a nice improvement, but it's more it's more of a nice project. I don't think this guitar absolutely needs it. I think it doesn't make a big difference. But yeah, it's just for the fun of trying to upgrade things. So here are my final thoughts on this guitar. I think it really looks cool. It sounds cool already. And I'm happy they kept the main really nice part of this guitar because it gives its identity and it doesn't look like cheap. Okay, it's more affordable, but really it looks like a nice guitar. At $800, I think it's a really good value for your money. And especially if you can invest time and effort and trying to make it better progressively, like changing a few things at a time, upgrading the pickups maybe. Honestly, it has all the things I like with the guitar, which is a really nice, snappy fretboard, cool aesthetics, very nice pickup configuration, which gives you both the full power of humbuckers and, because it has this single coil in the middle, the intermediate positions are really nice, like on the Strat. The neck is very flat and very comfortable, and you have this nice curve here and here, which were the points I really liked on my Schecter Sun Valley, but I was not really a big fan of the rest of the features, and I think this one has much better potential.